Hello there, my name is Alyssa Lakota, and I'm going to present to you my final portfolio. I am really excited to share everything that I've learned in this course, and I hope you're as excited to watch it as I was to make it. The first thing I'm going to talk about is a QR code. The purpose of a QR code is to allow quick and easy access to a website or information. So as you see in the top left-hand corner, I have an example of a QR code. If you were to hold your phone up to it, it would take you to a link to my personal contact information. So it's very interesting. You can use multiple different things for it. You can link websites to it, videos, Snapchat, so if you're in public and you see one, just snap a picture of it and it'll take you to where you need to be. I relate it to the ISTE Standard 3D Model and Promote Management of Personal Data and Digital Identity and Protect Student Data Privacy. The QR code itself does not say anything on it about my personal information, so there is a privacy aspect to it, and I think it's just it would be good for everybody to have one of those to share easily but still be protected. On this slide, I have an example of what would show up on your phone if you have an iPhone, and if you were to hold it up to my QR, it would give you my name, phone number, email address, and it would share that I'm from Uniontown. So that was just very interesting to me. The next thing I want to talk about is copyright. Copyright is the number one thing I've learned in this class. It is the exclusive legal right given to an originator or an assignee to print, publish, perform, film, or record literary, artistic, or musical material, and to authorize others to do the same. So to sum that up, it means if I were to write a paper, nobody could copy and paste my paper, use it as their own work. They would either have to get my permission or simply just not be able to use it. The standard I related this to is 3C. It's to mentor students in the safe, legal, and ethical practices with digital tools and the protection of intellectual rights and property. Your work is your property, and there is no reason for anybody else to use it. So I'm going to go to Google, and I'm going to show you just how to add a filter. So say I was doing a presentation on babies. I'm just going to type that in. I'm going to go over here and click Images. So all these adorable pictures come up, but before I start picking which ones I'm going to use, I'm going to go to I'm going to go to Tools, Usage Rights, and I'm going to click Labeled for Reuse. My page is going to refresh, and now these are the photos that have been granted rights to be able to reuse. So that's how you filter out photos for copyright. The next thing I want to talk about is Piktochart. So this is another one of my very favorite things. I'm actually presenting a project out of Piktochart. It is just kind of like a PowerPoint presentation, but if you want the slides can run together, it's an infographic, so it's presented by photos. So the first thing I want to talk about is the ISTE standard. I selected that this tool demonstrates cultural competency with communicating with students, parents, and colleagues and interact with them as co-collaborators in student learning. I chose this one because one of the things that you can use Piktochart for is a newsletter to send home to the parents. There are shorter templates that you can use that are printables front and back, so you can use it for that. It is visually pleasing. There are tons of options for backgrounds and font changes, font sizes, underlining. It's very easy to navigate. There's just a toolbar on the left hand side, so it makes it easy to use and implement or put in whatever you want. And it promotes deeper learning. In order to do this, you have to really understand what you're doing so that you're able to summarize it to fit the Piktochart itself. A weakness is it can be kind of hard to publish at first. You may have to play around with that for a little bit, and you can have an initial struggle to find a template. There are so many, and if you have a topic, it may be hard to match it with a template, but you do always have the option to create a blank one, so that's always good. So if I want to publish it, there is just a little thing in the upper right hand corner. It just says publish, and you can use that. And then one thing the Piktochart is where I learned how to hyperlink. So whenever I hyperlink, it links a URL to a photo. So I actually did another little screencast that I'm going to share. Okay, so I'm already on Piktochart. One thing I want to show you guys is how to hyperlink a URL to a photo. It's something that I didn't know how to do before this course, and I think it's really interesting, so I just want to do a quick tutorial on it. So I already have chosen my background, I've uploaded the photo I want, and I want to link my professional portfolio to this photo so that if I'm presenting I can access it easily. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to click on this. I'm going to copy this URL. I'm going to click on my picture, right click it, click add a link, and I'm going to paste this in here. And now this little link button shows up over here in the corner. That means that there is a link attached to the photo. So now I'm just going to click preview, and when I click on my photo, my portfolio comes up. So that'll be a nice add-in for whenever I am presenting or trying to get a job or at an interview. So it's just quick and easy. So that is just a quick tutorial on how to hyperlink a photo. I'm sorry for my suggested videos. My little sister has been using my iPad. So I'm going to move on. So the next thing that I want to talk about is screencasting. This is another tool that I have just been exposed to. I think it's amazing. I always wondered how my professors could record themselves teaching and show us how to do something when, like, if it's an online class, and this is something I think I will use a lot. A quick definition is a screencast is a digital recording of computer screen output, also known as a video screen capture containing audio narration. So it just shows you what I have on my screen, and I'm able to talk over it to help you navigate. Some uses you can use it for is for feedback. So if I'm grading a project, I can screencast how I'm grading, what changes I would make. Teaching from a distance, I can record myself doing a lesson or a tutorial, and anyone can watch it from anywhere. So if a student is absent from school, or, you know, if they need to review it a couple of times, they're able to do so. And so that leads me to repetition of a lesson. So if they need to watch it multiple times to be able to understand it, they have that ability. Some weaknesses, it is hard to restart, so if I mess up, you know, and I don't pause it or anything like that, I will have to start over. And the free version is limited to 15 minutes. You can overcome that by making multiple screencasts. So it's not that big of a weakness, but it can be difficult if you're doing a big project. The ISTE standard I related it to is to manage the use of technology in student learning strategies in digital platforms, virtual environments, hands-on makerspaces, or in the field, and also model and nurture creativity and creative expression and to communicate ideas, knowledge, or connections. So by me doing this, the students have a bigger opportunity to make connections to the material. So I just want to show you, this is what the screencast page looks like. Once you create an account, so to start the recording, all you do is hit start recorder. A box will come up around the screen, so my perimeter is set right around where my mouse just went, and so it records anything that I do inside of that screen. So that is very interesting. The next thing that I want to talk about is Voki. So Voki is a virtual avatar creator. It influences self-expression. It can be used for speech therapy. It promotes, or it helps easier communication for English language learners, and it is a fun icebreaker. I think helping with speech and English language learners will be the main reason I use the Voki. I just think it's a text to talk, so I think it could be very beneficial. A student doesn't have to be as worried about communicating their ideas if they can type what they're thinking. The standard that I related it to is model and nurture creativity and creative expression to communicate ideas, knowledge, or connections. So I want them to be able to communicate their ideas and make the connections with one another. So I do have a photo of my Voki, and then I also hyperlinked it. So I am just going to click on the photo, And this is my Voki. If you move your mouse around, see that her eyes are following. So I'm just going to play a minute.
Hello everyone. My name is Alyssa and I am an elementary education major. I think technology plays a big role in today's education system. There are so many more resources available at your fingertips, and I think it is important to incorporate them into as many things as possible.
So you can pick what you want to look like. So I chose a flower. You can pick the background. You can change the voice of the character, so you are able to personalize it to fit who you think that you are, and I think that is extremely important to do. So the next thing that we went over is Powtoon. So what is it? That's an interesting thing. It makes me feel like I'm going to make a comic book, but in reality, it is a digital movie or video maker. So what you do is you make different slides and you create a video. You input information, you can put in graphics and things like that. How is it used? To present new content, to show student expression, and promotes creativity. So you also can voice over it, which allows kind of like a screencast effect to it. So it is just kind of like an alternative to present new content. And what is its weakness? The biggest weakness I found is that it is recommended to only be used for larger assignments, so at least 4 or more slides. That's not necessarily a weakness, because there are alternative things that you can use in place of Powtoon, but it can be only used for larger assignments. The standard I related it to is to provide alternative ways for students to demonstrate competency and reflect on their learning using technology. So I think creating a Powtoon is a great way to demonstrate that they understand something and to summarize what they have learned. So I do have an example of mine that I want to share.
Hello everyone, my name is Alyssa Lakota, and if you look to the left, oh, there I am. I'm cool, funny, and extremely excited.
So it's just kind of cool that, once it's a voiceover, and you can add some spunk into it. You can add the different graphics. All the emojis are separate. I found a character that I thought resembled me, so I put her in there, and it just kind of gives you a way to allow the students to express themselves. And I'm going to stop here for this screencast, but join me for the next one.